This week on a PowerPLAY replay, we revisit my conversation with KidsPeace's own Dominique Womack. KidsPeace is a nonprofit organization devoted to helping children with emotional and behavioral challenges. Dominique has dedicated years to help them raise money for programs that help both foster children and foster parents have the emotional support and materials to continue to raise the youth through all circumstances. And this year, she continues the tradition with the second annual Art Gallery of Hope fundraiser, which displays art from kids that are looking for their forever homes and kids that want to help raise awareness for those in need. My sit down with Dominique Womack next on this PowerPLAY replay.
From the studios at Hellbait Productions, this is Season 3 of the PowerPLAY Show. Now, here's Tonya McGrath.
Welcome to the PowerPLAY. I'm your host, Tonya McGrath. My guest this week has made it her work to help the most vulnerable of our population, our foster children. Born and raised in Fayetteville, North Carolina, is not for the faint of heart, but for Dominique Womack, it is the mere heartbeat of her existence. As a teen, she fell in love with helping the surrounding communities by volunteering. When high school came to an end, she joined Kappa Kappa Psi National Honorary Band Fraternity at East Carolina. Being a member of Kappa Kappa Psi allowed her to combine the two things she loved most, music and service. Fast forward many years and many projects later, and her love for Fayetteville is still as strong as it was before. Since being home, she has raised thousands of dollars each year for various causes, mainly those dealing with our future. Cumberland County has always been ranked one of the top communities when it comes to children awaiting foster care, and since this community raised her, Dominique is determined to do the same for the generations to come. That is why the organization KidsPeace is near and dear to her heart. KidsPeace is a nonprofit organization devoted to helping children with emotional and behavioral challenges. She has dedicated years to helping them raise money for programs that help both foster children and foster parents have the emotional support and materials to continue to raise the youth through all circumstances. And this year, she has a very special idea to continue in the same vein of giving. The Art Gallery of Hope fundraiser will display art from kids that are looking for their forever homes and kids that want to help raise awareness for those in need. It took a village to raise Dominique, and that village is Fayetteville. Now it is her time to make sure that all our children have the same support. Dominique Womack, welcome to the PowerPLAY.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. And, you know, for those who follow the Power News on the Ray Thomas Variety Show, we spoke last week a little bit, but I wanted to get more into your story and more into kind of what made you this person that has really kind of focused their career, their life, into helping other people in need, particularly children, foster children in need, which is such an important part of our very vulnerable population. But where did this kind of giving back and community service, where did all that come from?
So being an only child, I really didn't know that I had it, like I wasn't as rich as I thought I was. Like you couldn't tell me as a 5-year-old that I wasn't the richest thing on the block. Like you really couldn't. It wasn't until I was older that I start to, see that there are a lot of people out there that have it really bad. And being an only child in a Christian household, the only way that I could get out and hang out with my friends was to do extracurricular activities, which involved us joining Key Club, which is Hawaiian's educated youth club. And we Special Olympics, we did like food drives, can drives, like we just did everything. And it was just like, I like this. I'm gonna keep this going. Mm-hmm. So community and service has been something that I've always kept going because like with the right support system, you don't know you don't have it made. You don't care.
That's right.
You don't care. Like my Uncle Terry was a truck driver and he used to bring me trinkets for every time he stopped. And like, I had never left Fayetteville like as a kid. I thought that was like the best thing ever. Oh, I went here, my uncle went there. He traveled the world on a truck. But, it's just, and that's what I want to provide. That's why I continue to do service and community service, because I want to provide that support system to let people know that it's okay as long as you got the right crew around you.
And you started at a pretty young age. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So talk about when you first really started realizing that this was something that was very important to you.
So it was definitely middle school, in a Douglasburg Middle School here in Fayetteville. And our band program, we used to have little contests and do food drives and canned food drives. And I was really competitive. Now, my great grandmother and my mama weren't too happy that I was giving away all their cans, but the community got to feed off of it, and it turned into like competition, hanging out with my friends. And like when I got older, then it started to all make sense. But it definitely started my 7th grade year in middle school.
And then how did that transpire in your high school years? Was it still as important to you? Did you, keep up that same level of service?
Of course. In Key Club, we did so many cool things. Like every year, the Special Olympics was something that I looked forward to. At first, I was really timid. I was scared, but high-fiving them as they're crossing the finish line is my favorite part. And it's like you start to feel all warm and fuzzy and you don't know why. So you just continue to do it. And I think that's when I realized how important it was to me. Because I did it all 4 years of high school,
Yeah.
So.
And what were your friends doing? What was your peer group like? Were they as involved in service as you were at that age?
So I had different types of peer groups. Being that I was an athlete, I was a musician, and then I still had my friends from my neighborhood growing up. A lot of the people that I played sports with, a lot of people I played music with, they were really, really highly active. And that's how I got to join Kappa Kappa Psi. Because I was a musician in college as well. And we dealt with service in the community to better band programs. So we're giving reeds to, kids, who need them. We're helping them with, sheet music for the schools and stuff like that. So my different crowds that I hung out with in high school, they all did their own special things, but it was definitely my soccer crowd that helped me get into what I really love, and that was dealing with children. Every time we volunteered, it was something dealing with our youth, and I'll just, as you can see, I carry it with me.
Yeah. And you came back home after East Carolina. You came back home, and you picked up right where you left off, right? Just getting right back into it. Did you ever have that moment you know what? I want to go make some real money. I want to go do, I just, I'll come back to the community stuff. Did you ever have that kind of, self-talk with yourself?
Yes. I'm very self-aware, so I know that at times I can be extremely selfish. But I started dabbling in selling cars. And everybody knows there's a lot of money in selling cars. And I worked for a big company doing it. And it was honestly there that I realized that I could continue to make money and then use that company's money to support my nonprofits in the community. So it became a thing where yearly for 4 years, I continued to apply for grants and foundations to help out. The company that I worked for was really, really big in United Way. And then, it was all regional for us. So I figured out how I could make it more localized. And so I donate my whole office. I make them donate on a Fayetteville level so we can take care of home. Because, I wish I could save the world. I wish I could just put every child on my shoulders and just swim them safety. But I've got to start somewhere. And with that job, it allowed me to start with helping my home.
You just said something so powerful. You wish you could take all the kids and put them on your shoulders and swim them home. And what has it been about foster children and foster families that has really kind of been your focus in these last several years and been so important to you?
Well, one, like we all could have been in a situation where that could have been us. Two, I adopted a brother, and I say adopt, he's much older than me. But I gathered like this great family, and his family was telling me about orphanages and like, how they have, they were in the system for a little bit. And I'm like, these loving people? No.
Yeah.
Like I was still like a little oblivious to everything that was going on. And I just realized, like, really circling back to having that great support system. And so I just try to figure out what I can do to help out. Because last year with KidsPeace, we had a couple of students go to college. People look at foster kids and they're like, oh, well, 1 in every 3 make it. The other 2 out of 3, they go to jail. It doesn't have to be that way.
Right. There is such a stigma associated with that, as if there was something wrong with the child or that there was something wrong with the parents. And it's so much more complicated and to some extent not always that negative. My husband and I are in the process of becoming foster parents with the goal of adoption. And, I am so excited about the opportunity to just maybe ease a little anxiety of a young person and just say, you know what, you're safe here. You're okay here. You don't have to leave, that type of thing. But I do see and feel, particularly when I talk to people about it, they're like, really? You're gonna bring a kid in, like a kid you don't know? Well, yeah, that's
absolutely
the whole idea of fostering.
Absolutely.
I'm like, I didn't know my kids until they grew up, and
and then like when your kids start playing sports and doing extracurriculars, you have all these kids in your car. I don't know them.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
It's like, why not take in somebody who needs it?
Right. And and it's one of my challenges with this, and I think my husband too, because he's like, yep, bring them all in. Like, what if it's a family of 6? Yeah, bring them all in. I'm like, okay, pump the brakes. We only have 1 bedroom. But you really kind of feel like, is it enough? Is it just, am I doing enough just by saying, okay, we're going to foster a child, but is it enough? And I imagine that you have to go through that like all the time, working with these families and just, seeing and working with the kids and everything. And how do you manage that emotional heartstring of just working with families? You don't?
I cry. Like, I cry like no other. Like, if we watch The Lion King right now, you'll hear me sniffling on the corner. I cry. I have no problem with showing my emotions. And it just makes me want to go a little bit harder. Because a lot of times, like, you have those families that are like not afraid to embrace you. And they're like, no, baby, we're good. We appreciate everything you do, but all we need is love. And it's like, you get those hugs and you see that they're good. It makes you want to keep going. And it kind of powers you up for the next family that might not feel that way. But no, girl, we cry around here.
And, I know you have other colleagues and that you work with, and you have this great story about these grown men who work with you. You got to tell that story, because I think it's just the sweetest story.
So we're sitting. So KidsPeace has a annual auction every year in Fayetteville, and what we do is we repurpose furniture to basically show you that just because that chair is broken, it's still useful. So it's kind of like, a metaphor. And there's this one kid who tells this story about how he broke down his piggy bank and he took all his money, and he said he found out about foster kids. He's like, I want to give these kids my money. And he tells his story, and we've heard it before, but every time that he gets to a certain spot, I turn around and my big burly, what I call brothers, like my brother friends, like they're all my best friends, but they're big, they're burly, they shoot, they hunt, they're manly men. All you hear is and so the best thing for us to do in that situation is to not lock eyes, because if we lock eyes, it's over. It's a wrap. Like the whole table, like, and we won't leave, but everybody's ears are red because they're all like trying to hold it in, but they're crying because of the fact that no matter how many times you can hear that story, and this kid's story is a feel-good story. It's amazing at how many kids are willing to still go out there and be loving and being caring no matter what their situation is. And
I'm going to ask you again, because I hear that story and I'm just like, okay. I want to go upstairs and tell my son, break your piggy bank. We're going to go donate and whatever. But it's like, how do you self-care? How do you keep yourself, not feeling just the emotional weight of it all? How do you take care of yourself?
So I'm a giver. And so partly that makes me feel like fulfilled. I'm also like, physical touch is my love language. Like, that makes me feel whole. But honestly, my artwork helps me unwind. I'm not the greatest artist in the world, but I love watching paint dry. And I love the fact that it gives me an avenue to slow down. Art is therapeutic. And we have this thing every Sunday with KidsPeace. We go out to a place called Dirtbag Ale and we do art club. And those kids will come up to us, cross their little legs and just start drawing and painting and having like a great old time. And it's just, you could see how therapeutic it is to them. And then it like, that light clicks, ding, this is why I have so much paint and art supplies.
Yeah.
And so like that's how I self-care. Like I indulge in the arts a lot, really heavy.
Let's talk about KidsPeace and how did you first become a part of this organization, and talk a little bit about what KidsPeace does.
Okay. So as I mentioned, we have the annual auction, and every year my big burly guys will be like, hey, let's go to this party. It's for a good cause. And I'm like, okay. So we went to the party, and then like I listened to their stories, and I listened to, like, I mingled with a lot of the foster parents that are in the KidsPeace system. And I learned that, it was just more than fostering. KidsPeace offers so many different programs to help out people who want to become foster parents by certifying them, taking them through classes and, helping them actually partner up with the child to take into their home. It also offers different programs for children, like tutoring programs. Like a lot of our kids in general don't know how to, do laundry, wash clothes. Like, of course, we're not even going to talk about taxes because I just got into that like a couple of years ago and I'm 37. So it's like we have these different programs that'll allow us to have people come out and to teach these kids, because a lot of people feel like it stops at 18.
Right.
It doesn't. You can't just kick somebody out at 18. They need survival skills.
Yeah.
And there are also going to be breaking moments where a lot of these children are going to break down. They're going to have tantrums. They're going to have, feelings. They're human. They're going through a lot. Like, for God's sake, a lot of them are carrying their overnight bag in a trash bag. So what KidsPeace does nationwide is we have different facilities that these children can go to, and they can seek that that therapy. They can, talk through a lot of things. We also have teensentral.com, which is if you want to go and you don't want to get your foster parent involved, but you just need to get something off your chest from a non-biased person. Teen Central is there for our teens, and they're also there for our parents, because a lot of our teens are the ones that are lingering throughout the system. So it's like KidsPeace has so much to offer. And that's how we stay connected, because we want to be able to help fund these things, because they're very, very important. Like, you don't have to have a foster kid if you want to go on Teen Central. You can go on it right now. There's still going to be somebody at the other end waiting for you.
Mm. Why is the foster rate so high in Cumberland County? Are there special circumstances there, or is it?
I have no idea. Like, we could speculate all day, but we really haven't come to the root of the problem. Mm. And that bothers me. But first, I want to make sure that I take my baby steps. So, we take care of the ones that we got now, and then maybe one of our politicians or somebody wants to get down to the root of the problem, because it hurts. Like, at once upon a time, the last couple of years, we had over 9,000 kids awaiting foster care. I mean, we're a decent sized city, but we're not that big.
Yeah. Wow.
So, yeah, this is something that we have to figure out, like, what we could do to help. And this is the only way that I can figure out for now, until Ray Thomas runs for office, because I'm gonna put that in the atmosphere.
He would be a great mayor. He really would. He'd be a great mayor. So let's talk about this event that you have coming up next week, the Art Gallery of Hope. And this was kind of your brainchild.
Yes. One of my random blurt out. So I was like, hey, I want to throw an art gallery fundraiser. And my friends are like, yeah, let's do it. And here we are. Fast forward 2 months. It actually took us 2 months to put this on. And we're 9 days away. So we're really nervous. But tracing back to the therapeutic part of art, and a little bit of the programs that we have going on with KidsPeace. So May 20th from 6 to 10, downtown Fayetteville. It's going to be a Thursday. We're having an art gallery where a lot of our local artists have donated artwork. Like, I'm sitting in the corner of my living room right now, because you don't want to see the rest of it, because it's covered in artwork right now. And what we're going to do is, like, we've been waiting for a chance to dress up. And so it's going to be an all black attire event, and 100% of the proceeds are going to go towards these programs that I spoke about with KidsPeace. And, like, when I tell you these artists showed out, like, I've had one artist by the name of Oscar who donated 17 pieces for the cause.
Wow. That's
so
incredible.
It's like a lot of people who are around my age and, like, a little bit younger are realizing that this is a problem. And this is going to give us a chance to get pretty and raise a lot of money. We've got a couple of officials that are going to be there. We've got a couple of speakers. One of our speakers, Matt, he was actually in the foster program, and he fosters. So what better person to speak on something than someone who knows the system inside and out? And I really just want to come up with a new way to have it be therapeutic for all, but still help our city. Because, I mean, we say we're leaving Fayetteville, but we always come back. Right. Always come back.
I mean, I think it's such an extraordinary idea, because as you know, art touches everyone in very different ways, and I think, art and music is a form of art. These types of things just are universal, and they bring so many different people from so many different backgrounds together. So I think it's a great idea in terms of what you're doing. And what is your hope with this? I mean, is this something that you're going to continue annually? Do you see yourself building it bigger and bigger and bigger?
So I only laugh because I just recently got over the fact of hearing next year and not gagging, because I was like, wait a minute. Slow down. But it is something that I want to continue. I never thought that I would be doing anything on this scale. And I really have to thank my friend Antonio. He's on the board of KidsPeace with me as well, because we've both been pushing each other. And it's like, we're both Bayville natives. And he's like, next year. I'm like, so it's that balance, that yin and that yang. But this is definitely one thing that I want to continue. But I feel like there's other things that I'd like to do as well. But I don't think they're going to let this one die down. I think it's going to be an event. It's going to be a whole vibe.
Oh, it's going to be huge. I'm speaking that into existence. It's going to be huge. What does Dominique do for fun when you're not out saving the world every day? What do you do for fun?
So I'm a big sleeper.
That's good. Sleeping is good.
I'm a huge sleeper. But no, I would like to say, like, a couple of my hobbies besides like painting. I dusted off my saxophone the other day, and I still have my chops. My goddaughter, she's 5, and her and I just like to go around and eat chicken nuggets at different places. Like, I'm a very simple girl. If I didn't have to wear shoes, I wouldn't. So that's just me. Like, everything I do, I find a way of making it fun. But those are the things that kind of tie the not working, not saving the world, chicken nuggets and naps.
I love it. The Power Play typically ends with asking our guests 3 questions. And my first question to you is that if it weren't kids, where do you think your passion to help would be?
If it weren't kids, I'm like, oh, but we need them so bad.
Like, is there another?
Well, education would be still fall under kids. I would have to say that just these illnesses in general, cancer, endometriosis, MS, like, just helping people cope through that. Recently, like, especially with cancer, it's kind of hit us really close to home with a lot of our friends, young and old. And I'm tired of seeing people suffer. I'm tired of lupus. I'm tired of all of them. Mm-hmm. So it'll definitely be in, if not doing all of them at the same time, if I had a magic lamp and I'd just rub it and say, hey, Genie, I want to cure them all at the same time. Definitely finding our way to fund a cure for at least one of them.
My second question, are there any political aspirations for Dominique Womack? Speaking of mayors, I think you'd be a pretty awesome mayor yourself.
This Dominique Womack is definitely different from Dominique Womack at East Carolina from 2001 to 2005. But I don't know. I've never thought about it. I've always been the one to just get their hands dirty. Like, I'll let somebody else sit and look pretty in their suit in their office. Let me put my boots on the ground and help the city that way.
My final question to you is, what is your greatest hope for KidsPeace and the work that you are doing with them?
My greatest hope is that we continue to raise so much money that we can have a facility with, I would say, I would like one in each state every 5 years, because of the fact that we do need the correct staff and in place, but we need some of these facilities to be a little bit closer to home. Like, the nearest one that we have right now is in Fuquay. I wouldn't mind the drive, but who's to say that a foster parent couldn't? So I just want to make sure that even though on our local levels, like, we're accessible in the region, I want to make sure that we're in every city.
Awesome. All right, so tell our audience, because this is all going to be on our website, tell our audience how they can get involved how can they get involved if they're not in Fayetteville next week, but still want to be able to participate or donate? This is your elevator pitch for everybody to get involved.
You know what? And like in our last meeting, they were just joking me about not practicing my elevator pitch, because typically I'm like, hey, give me money. That doesn't work all the time. So yeah, if you guys are on Facebook, you definitely can look up KidsPeace Art Gallery of Hope, and it'll direct you towards the Fayetteville event. And we have an Eventbrite on there. If you would like to donate money, you can do it on the Eventbrite, or you go to kidspeace.org and look and see where the regions are. Donate to the Southeast region and put in a little memo that you're donating to the Fayetteville area. And I really wish you all could be there. I hope that worked too.
Yes.
But it's much easier than giving out my email address. Like, even if you have questions on how you can do more, my phone number is all over the airwaves right now, like 910-778-6462. Shoot me a text, leave me a voicemail. I'll get back to you as soon as I can, because if it's that important for you to actually take a second out of your day to hit those 10 digits, it's definitely more important for me to show you how much I appreciate you. So whatever you can do, that's all I'm asking.
Awesome. Dominique Womack, thank you so much. You are an incredible inspiration. I wish you the best of luck next week, May 20th. For the Art Gallery of Hope in Fayetteville. You guys go out there, get your best black outfits, suits, dresses, cocktail dresses.
All of it.
All of it. Yes, for a good cause.
Absolutely.
Good cause. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much.
We will have you back again. I want to know how the event went. And,
of course.
This is going to be bigger next year, so we may have to do like an hour next year.
You know what? Let's go. And maybe I can get my partner in crime, Antonio, to stop being so camera shy and get on one of these interviews.
There you go, Antonio. I expect to see you next year. All right. Best of luck, Dominic. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
I appreciate you.
Remember, you can listen to past episodes of the PowerPLAY show wherever you subscribe to podcasts, including iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pandora Podcasts, and Amazon Music. You can also watch us on YouTube. Simply search the Hobbies Productions Media channel and be sure to subscribe so you always know when we're live. And we air each Saturday at 5 p.m. on BroncoiRadio.com. So tune into a new episode or replay each Thursday wherever you subscribe to podcasts, or on our YouTube channel at the Hobbies Productions Media channel, or simply visit thepowerplayshow.com. Until next time, I'm your host, Tonya McGrath, and thank you for tuning in.